was just settling down for the evening when my phone buzzed with my sister's number. Marcus Thompson here, and what I'm about to tell you happened just last month, but it feels like a lifetime ago. My sister Emma had always been the adventurous type, the kind of person who would drive 8 hours alone just to spend a weekend hiking through the Great Smoky Mountains. She loved the solitude, the challenge, and most of all, she loved proving to our overprotective family that she could handle herself in the wilderness. But that Friday night call changed everything. "Marcus, something is wrong." Her voice was shaking barely above a whisper. "I think someone has been watching me." I immediately sat up straighter, muting the television. Emma was not the type to panic or imagine things. She was a nurse, practical and level-headed, someone who dealt with crisis situations daily without losing her composure. "What do you mean, watching you? Where are you?" "I'm at Elkmont Campground, Site 47. I've been here since Thursday morning, and I swear someone has been following my routine. Marcus, they know exactly what I do and when I do it." The connection crackled, and I could hear wind rustling through what sounded like heavy forest. Emma had chosen one of the more remote sections of the campground I knew because she always preferred privacy over convenience. "Start from the beginning," I told her, grabbing a pen and paper. Something in her tone told me I was going to need to remember every detail. Thursday was normal. I set up my tent, did a short hike on the Gatlinburg Trail, came back around 4 in the afternoon. Made dinner, read my book by the fire, went to bed around 10. Nothing strange, but Friday morning when I woke up, my campfire had been rekindled. Fresh logs, Marcus. Someone had built up my fire while I was sleeping. My blood ran cold. "Did you report it to the Rangers?" I tried to rationalize it. Maybe I hadn't put it out completely. Maybe the wind had stirred some embers, but deep down I knew that fire was dead when I went to sleep. Then Friday evening, after my hike to Cataract Falls, I came back to find my camp chair had been moved. Not knocked over by wind or animals, but deliberately repositioned. It was facing my tent instead of facing the fire pit. I could hear her breathing becoming more rapid, more shallow. "Emma, you need to pack up and leave right now." "There's more, Marcus." Saturday morning, I found footprints. Boot prints circling my tent, size 11 or 12, definitely not mine. They started about 20 feet out and spiraled inward, getting closer and closer to where I was sleeping. The closest print was maybe 2 feet from my tent door. The line went quiet except for the sound of her shaky breathing and the distant sound of night insects. "Where are you calling from now?" "I'm in my car, doors locked, parked at the camp store, but Marcus, the store closed an hour ago and there's no cell service back at my campsite. I had to drive here to call you, but now I'm terrified to go back to get my stuff." "Don't go back. Whatever gear you have there isn't worth it. You don't understand. My insulin is in that cooler. I can't just leave without it." Emma was a type 1 diabetic, and I knew she never traveled anywhere without a carefully packed supply of medication and monitoring equipment. The realization that she was trapped between a potentially dangerous situation and a medical necessity made my stomach drop. "Okay, listen to me carefully. Call the Rangers right now. Get them to escort you back to your site." I tried. The ranger station closed at 8, and there's just an emergency number that goes to some county dispatch. They said they'd send someone when they could, but it might be hours. I was already reaching for my car keys. "I'm coming to get you. Stay in your car. Keep the doors locked. And do not go back to that campsite alone. Marcus, you live in Nashville. That's a 4-hour drive." "I don't care." Something is seriously wrong there. What Emma told me next made me press the accelerator harder as I drove through the dark Tennessee highways toward the mountains. When I was hiking back from Cataract Falls today, I kept hearing footsteps behind me on the trail. Every time I'd stop and turn around, the footsteps would stop too. I never saw anyone, but the timing was too perfect. Someone was matching my pace, staying just out of sight. Did you try calling out? Yes, and that's the part that really scares me. When I yelled, "Hello, is someone there?" I heard my own voice echo back to me. But it came from the wrong direction, Marcus. The echo came from ahead of me on the trail, not from behind where the footsteps had been. I had to pull over for a moment to process what she was telling me. At first, I thought it was just weird acoustics in the mountains, but then I realized what had happened. Whoever was following me had recorded my voice somehow and played it back. They wanted me to know they were there, but they also wanted me to know they were smart enough to mess with my head. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles had gone white. Emma, I need you to start driving toward Gatlinburg right now. Meet me at the first 24-hour gas station you can find. But my insulin, we'll figure out the insulin. You have enough to get through tonight, right? Yes, but Marcus, there's something else. When I got back to my campsite this evening before I left to call you, I found something on my picnic table. The pause stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Emma, what did you find? A Polaroid picture of me sleeping in my tent last night. The chill that ran down my spine was unlike anything I had ever experienced. This was not random criminal behavior or even typical stalking. This was someone who had been watching my sister for days, learning her patterns and deliberately escalating their invasions of her privacy. The angle of the photo, Emma continued, her voice now barely a whisper. It was taken from inside my tent. I had to pull over again because my hands were shaking too badly to drive safely. What do you mean inside your tent? The photo shows me sleeping, but it's taken from the foot of my sleeping bag looking toward the tent entrance. Marcus, someone was inside my tent while I was unconscious, close enough to touch me, and I never woke up. Did you take anything to help you sleep? Any medication? No, nothing. That's what terrifies me. I'm usually a light sleeper when I'm camping. The smallest sound wakes me up. But somehow this person got inside my tent, took a photograph with a flash, and I never stirred. The implications hit me like a physical blow. Someone had drugged my sister, violated her space in the most intimate way possible, and documented their crime. Emma, I'm 20 minutes from Gatlinburg. Where are you? I'm driving toward town now, but Marcus, there's a car behind me with no headlights on. It's been following me since I left the camp store. Can you see the driver? No, but they're maintaining the exact same distance. When I speed up, they speed up. When I slow down, they slow down. Get to the most public place you can find. A hospital, a police station, anywhere with lights and people. I'm almost to the main strip in Gatlinburg. There's a Waffle House that looks busy. Perfect. Pull right up to the front door and do not get out until I arrive. The next 15 minutes were the longest of my life. I kept Emma on the phone, talking her through every turn, every traffic light, until she was safely parked under the bright lights of the restaurant parking lot. The car that was following me just drove past without stopping, she reported. But Marcus, I got a look at the driver when he passed under a street light. What did you see? It was a man, maybe 40s or 50s, wearing what looked like camouflage clothing. But what scared me the most was that he was smiling. Not just smiling, but grinning like he was enjoying some private joke. When I finally arrived at the Waffle House, I found Emma sitting in her car, doors locked, staring at every vehicle that passed. She looked like she had aged 5 years in one night. We never went back for her camping gear. The next morning, I called the Rangers and explained the situation. They agreed to retrieve her belongings and investigate the campsite. but what they found made the situation even more disturbing. "Mr. Thompson," the ranger called me that afternoon. "We found your sister's campsite, but there's something you need to know. Site 47 has been closed for renovation since last month. There's no way your sister should have been able to camp there." "What do you mean closed?" "The site was damaged by a fallen tree and has been blocked off with barriers and signage. But when we got there this morning, someone had moved all the barriers aside and set up what looked like a complete campsite. Not just your sister's gear, but additional equipment. A much larger tent, multiple camp chairs, a professional-grade camera setup. Someone else was camping there. It appears someone had been living there for weeks, maybe months. We found evidence of long-term habitation, including a modified lean-to shelter hidden in the woods behind the official campsite. But here's the really disturbing part. We found dozens of photographs." My stomach clenched. "Photographs of what?" "Different women, all apparently taken without their knowledge while they were camping alone in various locations throughout the Smokies. The photos span at least 2 years, and they show a clear pattern of escalation. The early photos are taken from a distance, but the more recent ones are increasingly invasive." "What about the person who was living there?" "Gone. The site was abandoned, but it looked like they left in a hurry. We've turned everything over to the FBI, and they're treating this as part of a larger investigation into missing persons cases in the area." That was 3 weeks ago. Emma has not been camping since, and honestly, I do not blame her. She started seeing a therapist to help her process the violation of privacy and the knowledge that she had been targeted by someone who had clearly done this before. But the part that keeps me awake at night is something the FBI agent told me during their follow-up interview. "Mr. Thompson, your sister was extremely lucky. Based on the evidence we found and the pattern of behavior we've identified, we believe she encountered an individual who has been responsible for at least 3 disappearances of solo female campers in the southeast over the past 5 years. Disappearances? Women who went camping alone and never came home. In each case, their campsites were found abandoned with signs of long-term surveillance, but the women themselves were never located. Emma's phone call that night might have saved her life. If she had not trusted her instincts, if she had tried to tough it out one more night, she might have become another statistic in an investigation that is still ongoing. The FBI is still looking for the man in the camouflage clothing, and they believe he has moved his operations to a different area. If you are planning to camp alone, especially if you are a woman, please be aware of your surroundings and trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And if you ever find evidence that someone has been in your campsite while you were sleeping, do not try to be brave. Pack up immediately and get help. Sometimes the most dangerous predator in the wilderness walks on 2 legs. Day 1, October 15th. Isabella Rodriguez here, starting what I hope will be a peaceful week-long solo camping trip at Lake Tahoe. I have chosen a somewhat secluded spot on the Nevada side, away from the tourist crowds and RV parks. Site is maybe 200 yards from the water, nestled between tall pines with a perfect view of the lake through the trees. Weather forecast looks great for the next few days. I have been looking forward to this trip for months. After the divorce was finalized and I got settled into my new apartment in Sacramento, I decided I needed to do something just for me. Something that would help me remember who I am when I am not being someone's wife or trying to meet everyone else's expectations. The drive up from Sacramento was beautiful, all those autumn colors reflecting off the water. I arrived around 2 in the afternoon and spent the rest of the day setting up my camp exactly how I wanted it. My tent is positioned to catch the morning sun but stay shaded during the hottest part of the day. camp chair facing the lake, small fire ring with enough gathered wood to last several days. Everything organized and perfect. There are a few other campers in the area, but everyone is spread out enough to maintain privacy. I can see smoke from maybe 3 or 4 other campfires in the distance, but no one close enough to be bothersome. This is exactly what I needed. Day 2, October 16th. Woke up to the most incredible sunrise over the lake, made coffee and sat in my camp chair watching the water change colors as the light shifted. This is the kind of peace I have been missing for years. Around mid-morning, I noticed that one of the other campsites I could see in the distance looked remarkably similar to mine. Same color tent, same style of camp chair. Even what appeared to be the same arrangement of gear around the fire pit. I laughed to myself, thinking that maybe we had shopped at the same outdoor store. Spent the day hiking some of the trails around the lake. The fall colors are absolutely spectacular, and I took probably 100 photos. When I returned to camp in the late afternoon, I noticed the similar campsite again and realized it was even more identical than I had first thought. Not just similar equipment, but the exact same placement. Tent facing the same direction, chair in the same relative position, even the wood pile stacked the same way. Probably just a coincidence. A lot of people probably set up their camps using basic common sense about sun exposure and wind direction. Day 3, October 17th. Something strange happened this morning. I got up around 6:30 to make coffee and watch the sunrise, same as yesterday. But when I looked toward that other campsite, the person there was also sitting in their camp chair facing the lake at exactly the same time. I waved, thinking it would be friendly to acknowledge a fellow early riser. The person waved back, same gesture, same timing. But something felt off about it. The wave looked more like a mirror image than a greeting. Later in the morning, I decided to take a different hiking trail, one that would loop around and give me a better view of the other camp. What I saw from the elevated trail made me stop dead in my tracks. The campsite was not just similar to mine, it was identical. Same brand of tent in the same color, positioned at the exact same angle. Same camp chair in the same shade of blue. Same red cooler in the same position relative to the fire pit. Even the clothes hanging on the line to dry were the same items I had washed and hung up yesterday. I stood there for probably 10 minutes trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My rational mind kept insisting it had to be coincidence, but the arrangement was too precise, too detailed. Every single item matched not just in type and color, but in placement. When I got back to my own camp, I started paying closer attention to my surroundings. I made a mental note of exactly how I had arranged everything. The angle of my tent stakes, the specific way I had stacked my firewood, the position of my water bottles on the picnic table. Day 4, October 18th. I barely slept last night. Every sound in the forest made me think someone was moving around my campsite, taking notes, measuring distances. This morning I discovered my suspicions were justified. During the night, someone had been in my camp. Nothing was missing, but several items had been moved slightly. My camp chair had been turned exactly 15 degrees to the right. My water bottles had been rearranged in height order. The bandana I had left draped over my cooler was now folded into a perfect square. More disturbing was what I found when I hiked up to the overlook trail again. The other campsite had changed to match these new arrangements. The chair turned the same 15 degrees. Water bottles arranged the same way. Even a bandana folded identically and placed in the same position. I am no longer convinced this is coincidence. Around noon, I decided to test my theory. I deliberately moved several items in my camp, creating a specific pattern that could not be accidental. I placed 3 stones in a triangle next to my fire pit. I hung my jacket on a specific branch in a particular way. I turned my cooler so that the handle faced due north. Then I hiked to a different vantage point where I could observe the other camp without being seen. Within 2 hours, I watched someone emerge from the forest and begin rearranging their campsite. Even from a distance, I could see they were matching my changes exactly. 3 stones in a triangle. Jacket hung the same way. Cooler turned to the same position. But here is the part that made my blood run cold. The person doing the rearranging looked exactly like me. Same height, same build, same dark hair and the same length. Same hiking boots, same backpack. Even the same olive green jacket I was wearing. I watched through my binoculars as this person moved around their campsite with purpose and familiarity, as if they had been living this routine for days. When they finished the rearrangements, they sat down in their camp chair and pulled out what appeared to be a journal, just like the one I am writing in now. Day 5, October 19th. I did not sleep at all last night. I kept my headlamp ready and listened for any sound that might indicate someone approaching my camp. Around 3 in the morning, I heard footsteps circling my tent, but when I looked outside, I saw nothing. This morning, I discovered that more items had been moved. My journal had been opened to yesterday's entry, and someone had traced over my handwriting with a pencil, as if practicing to copy my writing style. I am now certain that someone is not just copying my campsite arrangement, but studying me personally. Learning my habits, my schedule, my mannerisms. When I hiked to the observation point today, the other campsite was completely empty. No tent, no equipment, no sign that anyone had been there at all. Just a bare patch of ground with a few scorch marks from a fire pit. But when I returned to my own camp, I found a note tucked under my water bottle. Thank you for the practice. I think I am ready now. Isabella. The handwriting was identical to my own. Day 6, October 20th. I should have left yesterday. I should have packed up the moment I found that note and driven straight back to Sacramento. But something kept me here. Some morbid curiosity about what was happening and what this person wanted. Now I wish I had trusted my instincts. This morning I woke up to find my camp chair occupied. Someone was sitting in it, facing the lake, wearing my spare jacket and my hiking hat. From behind, it looked exactly like me. I stayed inside my tent, afraid to make any noise, afraid to let this person know I was awake. For over an hour, I watched through the mesh window as this figure sat motionless in my chair, occasionally writing in what appeared to be my journal. When the figure finally stood up and walked toward the lake, I got my first clear look at their face. It was my face. Not similar, not close, but exact. Same features, same hair, same expressions, like looking into a perfect mirror. The figure turned back toward my tent and smiled, and I realized they knew I was watching. They waved at me with my own gesture, using my own mannerisms, and then disappeared into the forest. I am leaving now. Packing everything and getting out of here while this person is away from the campsite. I do not know what they want or how they managed to look so much like me, but I am not staying to find out. If anyone finds this journal, please know that I am Isabella Rodriguez from Sacramento, California. I drive a blue Honda CR-V with license plate 8G47M21. If someone claiming to be me shows up anywhere and you have doubts about their identity, ask them about the scar on my left ankle from when I fell off my bike in 3rd grade, or about my fear of butterflies, or about the way I always eat pizza crust first. Because I have a terrible feeling that whoever has been watching me plans to become me. Final entry, found written in different handwriting. Isabella left this morning, but she will not be needing her identity anymore. I have been practicing for weeks, learning her expressions, her voice, her memories from the journal entries she writes every night. She was a good teacher even though she never knew she was teaching. Tomorrow I will drive her Honda back to Sacramento and begin living her much more interesting life. Her job, her apartment, her friends who never call anymore anyway since the divorce. She will not be missed because I will be there instead, and no one will ever know the difference. The journal was found by a park ranger who noticed the unusual handwriting change. Isabella Rodriguez was reported missing by her workplace when she failed to return from her planned vacation. Her car was found abandoned at a different trailhead 20 miles away. She has never been located. The investigation remains open. Police interview transcript, Baxter County Sheriff's Department, case file number 2024-789. Interview subject, Ezra Whitfield. Date, August 23rd, 2024. Detective Morrison. This is Detective Morrison, Baxter County Sheriff's Department, conducting an interview with Ezra Whitfield regarding Incident Report 2024-789. Mr. Whitfield, you've agreed to provide a statement about your experiences during your recent backpacking trip in the Ozark National Forest. Can you state your full name and address for the record? Ezra Whitfield. Ezra James. Whitfield, 412 Pine Street, Fayetteville, Arkansas. And Detective, before we start, I want you to know that I understand how this is going to sound. I've been backpacking for 15 years and I've never experienced anything like what happened out there. Detective Morrison. Just tell me what happened, Mr. Whitfield. Start from the beginning. Ezra Whitfield. I left for a 5-day solo trip on August 18th. I planned to hike the Buffalo River Trail, then branch off onto some of the more remote, unmarked trails. I'm an experienced backpacker, Detective. I know how to minimize my impact, how to store food properly, how to camp responsibly. What happened out there wasn't due to any mistakes on my part. The first day was completely normal. I hiked about 12 miles, set up camp near a small creek, made dinner, and settled in for the night. Beautiful area, very peaceful. I had all my gear properly organized and secured before I went to sleep. Detective Morrison. When did you first notice something was wrong? Ezra Whitfield. Morning of the second day. When I woke up, my hiking pole was missing. Not both poles, just one. I searched everywhere, thinking maybe I hadn't secured it properly and it had rolled away during the night. But it was nowhere to be found. Now, losing a hiking pole isn't unusual. They can slip out of your pack, get left at a rest stop. I was annoyed but not alarmed. I figured I could manage with one pole for the rest of the trip. Detective Morrison. But other items went missing as well? Ezra Whitfield. That's where it gets strange. The second night, I was extra careful about securing all my gear. I even made a mental inventory before I went to sleep. But the next morning, my spare headlamp was gone. It had been in the top pocket of my backpack, zipped closed. Someone would have had to unzip that pocket specifically to get to it. Detective Morrison. Did you hear anything during the night? Any sounds that might have indicated someone was in your camp? Ezra Whitfield. Nothing. And I'm usually a light sleeper when I'm camping. The smallest sound will wake me up, but both nights I slept like the dead, which now that I think about it was unusual for me. The third morning, my camp spoon was missing. Not the whole mess kit, just the spoon. It had been inside my cook pot, which was inside my pack. Again, someone would have had to deliberately search through my gear to find it. Detective Morrison. At what point did you realize this might not be accidental? Ezra Whitfield. When I found the cache. I was hiking on day 3 when I decided to take a break near what looked like a natural rock formation. But when I got closer, I realized it wasn't natural at all. Someone had carefully stacked rocks to create a hidden storage area, maybe 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep. Inside were dozens of items: hiking poles, headlamps, camp spoons, water bottles, bandanas, carabiners, pocket knives, all arranged by type and color like some kind of organized display. And detective, my missing items were there. My hiking pole, my headlamp, my spoon, all arranged with identical items from other hikers. Detective Morrison, did you take your items back? Ezra Whitfield. I should have, but I was too shocked to think clearly. The organization was so precise, so deliberate. Each type of item was arranged in rows, sorted by brand and color. There were probably 50 hiking poles, all standing upright in perfect lines. Dozens of headlamps arranged by size and type. It looked like someone had been collecting these items for years. But what really disturbed me was that many of the items looked personal. There were journals, photographs, pieces of jewelry, things that people would never willingly leave behind. Detective Morrison, what did you do next? Ezra Whitfield. I took photos of everything with my phone, then got out of there as fast as I could. I had planned to camp 2 more nights, but I decided to hike out immediately. I wanted to get back to cell phone range and report what I had found. But that's when things got really frightening. Detective Morrison, go on. Ezra Whitfield. I was maybe 2 miles from the cache when I realized someone was following me. At first it was just a feeling, that sensation of being watched. But then I started hearing sounds behind me on the trail. Footsteps that would stop whenever I stopped, start whenever I started walking again. I tried calling out, thinking maybe it was another hiker who wanted to pass me on the trail. But there was no response, just silence, until I started walking again. Detective Morrison, could you see who was following you? Ezra Whitfield. Not at first. The trail was winding through dense forest and there were too many trees and rocks for clear sight lines. But eventually I caught glimpses of someone moving parallel to the trail, staying just out of direct view. Detective, this person was carrying an enormous pack, much larger than what any normal backpacker would carry. And they were moving through the underbrush without making hardly any noise, which meant they knew that terrain extremely well. Detective Morrison, did this person ever approach you directly? Ezra Whitfield. Not approach exactly, but they started getting bolder. I would stop to rest, and I would find items missing from my pack. Not valuable items, but personal ones. A photograph of my daughter that I kept in my wallet. A bandana my ex-wife had given me years ago. A small notebook where I recorded trail conditions and wildlife sightings. And here's the part that still gives me nightmares. These items would reappear in strange places. The photograph would be tucked under a rock where I was about to sit down. The bandana would be tied to a tree branch right at eye level. The notebook would be left open to a specific page, as if someone had been reading my entries. Detective Morrison, it sounds like this person wanted you to know they were taking your things. Ezra Whitfield. Exactly. This wasn't random theft. It was deliberate psychological manipulation. They wanted me to feel violated, to know that they could take anything they wanted from me at any time. But the worst part was what they started leaving behind. Detective Morrison. What do you mean? Ezra Whitfield. Personal items that clearly belonged to other hikers. A driver's license for a woman named Sarah Chen from Oregon dated 3 years ago. A wedding ring engraved with names and a date from 2019. A child's drawing that said "For Daddy's Camping Trip" in crayon. These items were being left where I would definitely find them, usually placed on rocks or logs directly in my path. And detective, when I got home and researched some of these names, I found missing person reports. Detective Morrison. You believe these items belong to people who disappeared in the forest? Ezra Whitfield. I don't know what else to think. Sarah Chen was reported missing after a solo backpacking trip in Arkansas in 2021. The wedding ring had names that matched a couple from Texas who disappeared during an anniversary camping trip in 2019. These weren't items that people would accidentally drop and leave behind. Detective Morrison. Tell me about your final encounter with this person. Ezra Whitfield. It happened on my last night in the forest. I was probably 6 miles from the trailhead, close enough that I figured I could hike out early the next morning. I set up camp in what I thought was a hidden spot off the main trail and surrounded by dense trees. But when I woke up around midnight, someone was sitting across from my campfire. Detective Morrison. Can you describe this person? Ezra Whitfield. Middle-aged man, maybe 50 or 55 years old. Long gray hair, full beard, wearing clothes that looked like they had been patched and repaired many times. But what struck me most was how clean and organized he appeared despite obviously living in the wilderness for extended periods. He was sorting through items from a large canvas bag, arranging them by size and type just like the cache I had found. Small items like buttons and coins in one pile, larger items like camp tools in another. Very methodical, very precise. Detective Morrison. Did he speak to you? Ezra Whitfield. Eventually. But first he just sat there for maybe 20 minutes organizing his collection while I pretended to be asleep. I was terrified to move or make any sound. Finally, he looked directly at my tent and said, "I know you're awake, Ezra." He used my name, Detective. I had never told him my name. Detective Morrison. What did he say after that? Ezra Whitfield. He told me that he had been curating items from hikers for over 10 years. That's the word he used, curating, like he was running some kind of museum. He said most people never even noticed when small things went missing, but that I had been more observant than most. He showed me a notebook where he had detailed records of every item he had taken, organized by date and location and description of the person he had taken it from. Pages and pages of entries going back years. Detective Morrison. Did he explain why he was doing this? Ezra Whitfield. He said that people who came into the forest brought too much with them, that they didn't understand the difference between what they needed and what they wanted. He saw himself as teaching them about simplicity, about what was truly essential. But Detective, some of his entries described taking items from people who were sleeping, people who never woke up again. He had detailed notes about permanent collections and subjects who became part of the forest. Detective Morrison. Did he threaten you? Ezra Whitfield. Not directly, but he made it clear that he could have taken much more from me if he had wanted to. He knew exactly what gear I was carrying, what food I had, even personal details about my life that he could only have learned by going through my belongings while I was unconscious. Then he told me that I was free to leave, but that I should consider carefully what I planned to do with the information I had gathered. Detective Morrison. When did he leave? Ezra Whitfield. He didn't leave. I did. I packed up my tent in the dark and hiked out immediately, using my headlamp to navigate the trail. I didn't stop moving until I reached my car at dawn. But Detective, when I got to the parking area, I found one more item waiting for me. My car keys, which I was certain I had locked inside my car, were sitting on my windshield with a note. Detective Morrison. What did the note say? Ezra Whitfield. Thank you for visiting my forest. I hope you learned something about what you truly need. Please don't come back. The note was written in my own handwriting, Detective. Somehow he had learned to copy my handwriting perfectly. Detective Morrison. Mr. Whitfield, we're going to need you to provide us with the exact coordinates of that cache location, and we'll need copies of all the photographs you took. This information could be crucial to several ongoing missing person investigations. Ezra Whitfield. I'll give you everything I have, Detective, but I want you to know that I'm never going back into those woods. Whatever that man has been doing out there, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's very good at not being caught. There are people in that forest who went in alone and never came back out, and I think their belongings are still sitting in his collection, waiting for someone to claim them. End of interview. Note: investigation ongoing. Cache location searched but found empty. Several items matching descriptions of belongings from missing persons cases were recovered from secondary locations. Subject remains unidentified and at large. Medical consultation report, St. Joseph Medical Center. Patient, Autumn Blackwood. Date, September 15th, 2024. Attending physician, Dr. Rebecca Martinez. Dr. Martinez. This is Dr. Martinez conducting a psychological evaluation and medical debrief with Ms. Autumn Blackwood following her rescue from Devil's Canyon in southwestern Colorado. Ms. Blackwood, I understand you've agreed to discuss your experience for both medical and potential legal purposes. Can you confirm you're comfortable proceeding? Autumn Blackwood. Yes, doctor. I need to get this out. I need people to understand what happened down there and why I'll never set foot in another cave as long as I live. Dr. Martinez. Let's start from the beginning. What brought you to Devil's Canyon? Autumn Blackwood. I'm a geology graduate student at Colorado State specializing in limestone formations and underground water systems. Devil's Canyon has some of the most interesting cave systems in the region, and I'd been planning this research trip for months. I had proper permits, proper equipment, and I'd studied topographical maps extensively. I wasn't supposed to be alone, Doctor. My research partner, Jake, was supposed to meet me there, but he came down with food poisoning the night before. I should have postponed the trip, but I'd already taken time off work, reserved the equipment, and frankly, I was excited to finally get some hands-on research done. Dr. Martinez, walk me through what happened when you arrived at the canyon. Autumn Blackwood. I got there around 8 in the morning on September 10th. Perfect weather, clear skies, no precipitation in the forecast. I set up my base camp about a quarter-mile from the main cave entrance, planning to spend 3 days documenting different formations and taking water samples from the underground streams. The main cave system has been explored extensively, but there are several smaller offshoots that haven't been properly mapped. That's what I was interested in. I spent the first day exploring the known passages, taking photographs and measurements, getting familiar with the layout. Everything was going perfectly until day 2. Dr. Martinez. What happened on day 2? Autumn Blackwood. I decided to explore one of the unmapped side passages about half a mile into the main system. It was a tight squeeze, maybe 4 feet high and 3 feet wide, but it opened up into a larger chamber about 50 feet in. Beautiful formations, pristine flowstone, exactly the kind of thing I was hoping to document. I was in that chamber for maybe 2 hours, taking photographs and collecting samples when I heard the first rumble. Dr. Martinez. What kind of rumble? Autumn Blackwood. Deep, sustained like thunder, but coming from inside the rock itself. The whole chamber shook, and I could hear rocks falling somewhere in the distance. I knew immediately that I needed to get out, but when I crawled back to the passage entrance, I found it completely blocked. The ceiling had partially collapsed, filling the narrow passage with chunks of limestone and debris. But Doctor, the collapse was too precise, too localized. In 15 years of caving, I've seen natural rockfalls, and they don't happen like that. They're chaotic, unpredictable. This looked deliberate. Dr. Martinez, what do you mean by deliberate? Autumn Blackwood. The rocks weren't just randomly scattered, they were stacked, fitted together like someone had carefully arranged them to completely seal the passage. And there were tool marks on some of the stones, fresh scratches that couldn't have been caused by natural shifting. But at the time, I was too focused on survival to think about the implications. I was trapped in a chamber maybe 20 feet by 30 feet, with no other exits that I could find. My headlamp showed solid rock walls on all sides. Dr. Martinez, what were your initial survival priorities? Autumn Blackwood. Water, air, and getting word to the outside. I had about 2 liters of water with me, enough food for maybe a day, and my cell phone had no signal that deep underground. But I did have an emergency beacon that should have transmitted my GPS coordinates to search and rescue. The air quality seemed stable, no immediate signs of carbon dioxide buildup or oxygen depletion. I tried to stay calm and conserve energy while I waited for rescue. But Doctor, that first night in the chamber, I realized I wasn't alone. Dr. Martinez. What do you mean? Autumn Blackwood. Around midnight, I started hearing sounds coming from deeper in the chamber. Not falling rocks or shifting debris, but deliberate sounds, scratching, tapping like someone working with tools. At first, I thought maybe it was search and rescue trying to dig through from another direction. I called out, shouted for help, but the sounds stopped immediately. Complete silence for maybe an hour. Then they started again. Dr. Martinez. Could you determine where the sounds were coming from? Autumn Blackwood. That's when I discovered the chamber wasn't as sealed as I thought. Using my headlamp to search more carefully, I found a narrow crack in the back wall, maybe 18 inches wide and 3 feet tall. The sounds were definitely coming from beyond that opening. I managed to squeeze through the crack and found myself in a much larger space, a natural cathedral chamber maybe 60 feet high. But Doctor, this wasn't a natural cave formation anymore. Someone had been living there. Dr. Martinez. Living there? What do you mean? Autumn Blackwood. There were constructed walls made from fitted stones, primitive but skillfully built. Sleeping areas carved into the rock and lined with animal furs. Storage alcoves containing tools, preserved food, even books and papers wrapped in waterproof materials. But most disturbing were the bones. Human bones, some obviously very old, others more recent. They were arranged in careful patterns around what looked like a ceremonial area in the center of the chamber. Dr. Martinez, did you encounter whoever was living there? Autumn Blackwood. Not immediately. I spent several hours exploring the chamber, documenting what I found with my camera, trying to understand what I had stumbled into. The bones showed evidence of intentional placement, not natural death. Some had been carved with symbols I didn't recognize. The tools were primitive but effective. Stone knives, bone needles, implements for working leather and preparing food. Whoever lived there had been underground for a very long time and had adapted completely to that environment. Then I found the journals. Dr. Martinez. Journals? Autumn Blackwood. written accounts dating back decades, maybe longer. Different handwriting, different people, but all describing how they had come to live in the cave system. Some were cavers who had gotten lost and never found their way out. Others were people who had chosen to disappear from the surface world. But the most recent entries described watching people enter the caves and deliberately trapping them by causing rock falls. The writer called it recruiting new members for their underground community. Dr. Martinez, you believe someone intentionally trapped you? Autumn Blackwood. Doctor, I found detailed plans showing the structural weak points in various passages, notes about which areas could be collapsed safely without damaging the main chamber system. This person had been studying the cave geology for years, learning exactly how to trap people without killing them outright. The most recent journal entries mentioned the geology student and included sketches of my equipment and camping setup. They had been watching me since I arrived. Dr. Martinez, when did you encounter this person directly? Autumn Blackwood. My second night trapped around 3 in the morning. I woke up to find someone sitting across from me in the chamber just watching me sleep. An elderly man, maybe 70 years old, but incredibly lean and strong-looking. His skin was pale from years without sunlight, and his hair and beard had grown wild. He was wearing clothes made from animal skins and carrying tools I had seen in the storage alcoves. But what struck me most was how comfortable he seemed in that environment. He moved through the darkness without any artificial light, navigating by touch and sound alone. Dr. Martinez, did he speak to you? Autumn Blackwood. Eventually, his voice was hoarse, like he hadn't spoken to another person in months. He told me his name was Thomas, that he had been living in the cave system for 23 years. He had originally entered the caves as part of a rescue team looking for missing cavers, but had gotten separated from his group and lost. Instead of dying underground, he had adapted. He learned to hunt the cave fish and salamanders, to collect water from underground streams, to stay warm using primitive techniques. But doctor, he had also gone completely insane. Dr. Martinez, in what way? Autumn Blackwood. He believed that the surface world had ended, that everyone above ground had died in some kind of apocalypse. In his mind, he was preserving humanity by keeping people safe underground. The bones I found belonged to people he had saved over the years. He showed me journals from other trapped cavers, people who had survived for weeks or months before eventually dying from illness, injury, or despair. He had carefully documented each person's final days, treating their deaths as natural transitions rather than preventable tragedies. Dr. Martinez, how did you survive the encounter? Autumn Blackwood. Thomas wasn't immediately hostile. In his twisted logic, he was trying to help me adapt to underground life, teaching me which cave creatures were safe to eat, how to collect and purify water, how to make tools from bone and stone. But he also made it clear that I would never leave the caves. He had sealed all the known exits and would prevent any rescue attempts by causing additional rockfalls. In his mind, I was already dead to the surface world. I played along for almost 36 hours, pretending to accept my situation while secretly looking for escape routes. Thomas had extensive knowledge of the cave system, but he had been alone for so long that he had become careless about security. Dr. Martinez, how did you escape? Autumn Blackwood. I discovered that Thomas slept very deeply, probably from years of physical exhaustion and malnutrition. During one of his sleep periods, I managed to access a vertical shaft that led to an upper level of the cave system. The climb was terrifying, 60 feet of loose rock and narrow handholds in complete darkness. but I made it to a passage that Thomas either didn't know about or couldn't access due to his age. That passage eventually led to a sinkhole that opened to the surface about half a mile from my original camp. I emerged after 36 hours underground, dehydrated and injured but alive. Dr. Martinez, what happened to Thomas? Autumn, Blackwood. Search and rescue teams went back for him, but the cave system had been further damaged by additional rockfalls. They found evidence of long-term habitation and recovered some human remains, but Thomas himself was never located. The caves have been sealed pending further investigation, but Doctor, I know he's still down there, and I know there are probably other cave systems where similar things are happening. Dr. Martinez, how has this experience affected you psychologically? Autumn, Blackwood. I've changed my field of study to surface geology. I can't even go into basements anymore without panic attacks. The thought of being trapped underground, of being deliberately cut off from escape, it haunts every aspect of my life now. But what disturbs me most is knowing that Thomas genuinely believed he was helping people, saving them from some imaginary surface catastrophe. In his mind, trapping and eventually killing cavers was an act of mercy. There are thousands of unexplored cave systems across the country, Doctor. And after what I experienced, I have to wonder how many other people like Thomas are living underground, waiting for the next rescue opportunity. Dr. Martinez. Ms. Blackwood, I want you to know that you've shown remarkable resilience in surviving this ordeal. We'll continue working together to help you process the psychological impact, and your information has been forwarded to the appropriate authorities for follow-up investigation. Autumn, Blackwood. Thank you, Doctor. I just hope my experience can prevent someone else from ending up trapped with a madman who thinks he's saving the world by burying people alive. End of session. Note: patient shows signs of severe PTSD related to confined spaces and underground environments. Long-term therapy recommended. Case forwarded to FBI Missing Persons Division for investigation of potential additional victims. Audio recording transcription. Emergency Services Department. Recording device digital voice recorder model DR40. Exxon. Owner Kai Nakamura. Date recovered September 3rd, 2024. Recording begins by 11:47 p.m. August 28th, 2024. Kai Nakamura. Testing. This is Kai Nakamura recording ambient sounds at Mirror Lake Campground, Washington State. Day 3 of our family camping trip. I am placing this recorder outside our tent to document the unusual acoustic phenomena we have been experiencing. Sound of footsteps on gravel, tent zipper closing. 2 minutes of normal forest sounds. Wind, distant water, occasional owl calls. Unknown Kornose. Voice, female, distant. Kai, where are you? Voice is identical to Aiko Nakamura, subject's wife. Kai from inside tent whispering. Aiko, is that you? Are you outside? Aiko from inside tent. No, I am right here beside you. Why would you ask that? Okay. Someone just called my name in your voice. Unknown voice. Closer now. Daddy, I cannot find you. Where did you go? Voice matches 8-year-old daughter, Yuki Nakamura. Kai. Yuki, come here right now. Get in the tent. Yuki from inside tent. Daddy, I am already in here. I have been sleeping. Tent zipper opening rapidly. Kai. Both kids are in here, Aiko, both of them, but someone outside is using their voices. Unknown voice. Multiple voices now overlapping. Mommy, where are you? Child's voice. Help me, I am lost. Adult female voice. The fire is going out. Adult male voice matching Kai's. Aiko. Kai, that last voice sounded exactly like you, but you are right here. Kai. Everyone stay in the tent. Do not go outside no matter what you hear. 15 minutes of overlapping voices calling family members' names using perfect vocal matches. Unknown voices in sequence. Remember when we went to Disneyland last summer? Aiko's voice. Yeah, Yuki threw up on the teacup ride. Kai's voice. That was so embarrassing. Teenage son hero's voice. But we had ice cream after. Yuki's voice. Aiko, whispering. Those are our exact words from yesterday's conversation. How could anyone know that? Kai. I do not know, but whatever is out there has been listening to us for days. Recording continues with 45 minutes of the family cowering in their tent while voices circle the campsite, engaging in conversations using their exact words and mannerisms. Recording ends 12:47 a.m., August 29th, 2024. Recording begins 6:23 a.m., August 29th, 2024. KAI, morning of day 4. The voices stopped around 3 a.m. I'm going outside to check the campsite and look for any evidence of what happened last night. Footsteps on gravel, tent zipper. KAI. The fire pit has been rebuilt. We let it die completely before bed, but there are fresh logs arranged in a perfect circle. Someone was here while we were trapped in the tent. Walking, sounds crackling of leaves underfoot. Kai. There are footprints in the soft ground around our tent, but these are not normal human prints. They are too long, too narrow, and the toe impressions are wrong. Like someone was trying to walk like a human but does not understand how human feet work. More walking, sound of camera clicking. Kai. I am taking photos of everything. The footprints form a complete circle around our tent, maybe 20 feet out. Whoever did this walked around us all night in a perfect pattern. Unknown voice, very close behind him. Taking pictures, Kai. Voice is Kai's own voice, speaking simultaneously with him. Kai. What the hell? Who is there? Rapid footsteps, breathing heavily. Kai. I just heard my own voice speaking the same words I was saying at the exact same time, like an echo but with no delay. Unknown voice, Aiko's voice. Kai, come back to bed, it is still early. Kai. Aiko is still asleep in the tent. I can see her through the mesh window, but something just called to me in her voice. Sound of tent zipper. Aiko, groggy. Where did you go? I heard you talking to yourself outside. Kai. I was not talking to myself. Something was talking with my voice. Recording ends 6:34 a.m. Recording begins 8:15 p.m., August 29th, 2024. Kate's. Evening of day 4. We tried to hike to the ranger station today, but every time we got close, we would hear one of our voices calling from back toward camp, claiming someone was in trouble. Aiko. Tell them about what happened at the trail junction. Kai. We reached a fork in the trail around noon. The left path went toward the ranger station, the right path went deeper into the wilderness. As we started left, we heard Yuki crying from the right path, calling for help. Yuki. But I was right there with you. I was not crying. Hero. It sounded exactly like her, though. Even I thought she had wandered off. Kai. We spent 20 minutes searching the right path before we realized we were being led away from help. When we got back to the junction, we heard our own voices having a conversation on the left path, discussing whether to go back to camp. Aiko. It was our voices, our words, but we were all standing there together listening to ourselves talk. Kay, we are trapped here. Every time we try to leave, the voices confuse us, lead us in circles, make us doubt what is real. Sudden sound of child crying in the distance. Yuki. That is not me, I'm right here. Unknown voice. Yuki's voice from the forest. Daddy, help me, something is chasing me. Kai. Everyone stay together, do not respond to any voices unless you can see the person speaking. Crying intensifies, joined by Aiko's voice calling for help. Aiko. I am not making those sounds. Something is using my voice to try to lure you away from us. Multiple overlapping voices for 10 minutes, all perfectly matching family members but coming from the dark forest around them. Recording ends 8:47. Recording begins 11:58 p.m. August 30th, 2024. Kai, whispering. Final night. We are packing up at dawn and hiking out no matter what. The voices have been getting bolder, more sophisticated. Tent zipper, footsteps. Aiko, whispering. Something is moving around our tent again. Unknown voices, perfect reproduction of family conversation from earlier. I think we should roast marshmallows. Yuki, we do not have any marshmallows. Hiro, we could use bread and chocolate. Aiko, that is not the same thing. Kai, Hiro, whispering. That was our exact conversation from this afternoon, word for word. Kai, whatever this thing is, it has been recording everything we say and do. It is learning our patterns, our relationships, our memories. Unknown voice, combination of all family voices speaking in unison. You cannot leave. You belong here now. Your voices belong to us. Silence for 2 minutes. Yuki, crying softly. Daddy, I want to go home. Kai, we are going home, sweetheart, first thing in the morning. Unknown voice. Kai's voice from outside tent. We are going home, sweetheart, first thing in the morning. Exact reproduction of Kai's words spoken simultaneously. Kai, it is copying everything I say in real time now, like it is trying to replace me. Recording continues with 2 hours of the entity mimicking every sound the family makes, creating an increasingly disorienting echo effect. Recording ends 2:15 a.m., August 31st, 2024. Final recording 6 a.m., August 31st, 2024. KAI, we are leaving now. Hiking straight out, ignoring any voices that try to stop us. If anyone finds this recording, know that Mirror Lake has something in it that steals voices and uses them to trap people. Sound of camp being broken down, backpacks being loaded. Unknown voices, all family members speaking from multiple directions. Do not leave us here. Aiko, we need you to stay. Yuki, the forest is our home now. Hiro, your voices belong to us. Kai, those are not us. We are all here together. Everyone hold hands and do not let go. Footsteps on trail, family breathing heavily. 30 minutes of hiking, sounds mixed with constant vocal mimicry following them through the forest. Hiro, Dad, the voices are getting fainter. Kai, keep walking. Do not look back. Voices fade to whispers, then silence. Aiko, I can see the parking area. Yuki, are we safe now? Unknown voice, all voices in unison, very distant. You can never really leave. We know your voices now. We will always know your voices. Sound of car doors slamming, engine starting. Kai, we made it out. But I do not think this is over. Even now, driving away, I can still hear our voices echoing in my head. Recording ends. Ila. Note: the Nakamura family reported their experience to local authorities and provided this audio evidence. Subsequent investigations of Mirror Lake found no physical evidence of the phenomena described, but the campground has since been closed pending further research. 3 other families have reported similar experiences at the location over the past decade, all involving vocal mimicry and psychological manipulation. The recordings have been analyzed by audio experts who confirm that the unknown voices are perfect matches for the family members' vocal patterns, but show acoustic properties inconsistent with normal human speech production. 6. Search and Rescue Report, Yellowstone National Park. Incident number YNP-2024-SR-0347. Missing person, Dalton James O'Brien. Report filed by Ranger Station 4, Lamar Valley District. Ranger Collins. This is Search and Rescue Report for Incident YNP-2024-SR-0347. Mr. O'Brien, you were reported missing for approximately 18 hours before being found by other campers. Can you walk me through your experience from your perspective? Dalton O'Brien. Ranger Collins, I have to tell you up front that what I'm about to describe sounds impossible even to me. I've been camping and hiking in these mountains for over 15 years, and I've never experienced anything like this. Ranger Collins. Just tell me what you remember, Mr. O'Brien. Dalton. O'Brien. I arrived at my designated backcountry campsite in Lamar Valley on June 12th around 3 in the afternoon. Everything was normal. I set up my tent, organized my gear, made dinner over my camp stove. Beautiful evening, clear skies, perfect camping weather. I went to sleep around 10 that night and woke up at dawn on June 13th feeling refreshed and ready for a day hike. I had planned to explore the Specimen Ridge Trail system, maybe get some wildlife photography done. I packed my day pack with water, energy bars, first aid kit, GPS device, and camera. Ranger Collins. What time did you leave your campsite? Dalton O'Brien. 6:30 in the morning. I remember checking my watch because I wanted to get an early start and be back before dark. The trail conditions were excellent. No recent precipitation, good visibility. I hiked for about 3 hours, taking my time, stopping to photograph some elk I spotted near a meadow. Around 9:30, I reached a ridge overlook that offered spectacular views of the valley below. That's when I decided to take a break and have some breakfast. Ranger Collins. When did you first notice something was wrong? Dalton O'Brien. It started with the fog. Ranger, I've hiked in fog before, but this was different. It rolled in incredibly fast, like someone had just switched off the sun. Within minutes, visibility dropped to maybe 10 feet in any direction. But the strangest part was the silence. When fog moves through mountains, you usually still hear birds, insects, wind through the trees. This fog brought complete silence with it. Not just quiet, but an absolute absence of sound that felt unnatural. Ranger Collins. What did you do when the fog came in? Dalton O'Brien. I tried to wait it out initially. Fog in mountains usually lifts within an hour or two, but after sitting there for what felt like 45 minutes, I started to get concerned about my schedule. I had a GPS device, so I figured I could navigate back to the main trail even in low visibility. That's when things got really strange. I turned on my GPS and it showed my location as being about 2 miles southeast of where I knew I actually was. I thought maybe it was a device malfunction, so I tried using my compass as backup. Ranger Collins. Did the compass give you the same reading? Dalton O'Brien. The compass was spinning, not pointing in any consistent direction, just slowly rotating like it couldn't find magnetic north. In 15 years of hiking, I've never seen a compass behave like that. I decided to try retracing my steps back the way I had come, using the trail markers I remembered passing. But Ranger, I couldn't find the trail. I was standing in what should have been the middle of a well-maintained hiking path, and there was nothing. Just unmarked forest floor in every direction. Ranger Collins. How long did you search for the trail? Dalton O'Brien. That's where my memory starts to get fuzzy. I remember searching for what felt like hours, getting increasingly desperate. The fog never lifted, the silence never broke, and my electronic devices kept giving me impossible readings. At some point, I think I must have panicked. I started running through the forest, crashing through underbrush, calling for help. But my voice seemed to disappear into the fog like it was being absorbed. The last clear memory I have from that day is finding what looked like my campsite. Same clearing, same arrangement of rocks around a fire pit, same view toward the valley. But when I got to where my tent should have been, there was nothing there. Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, you were reported missing when you failed to check in at the visitor center as scheduled. Can you tell me about your next clear memory? Dalton O'Brien. I woke up lying on my back in a completely different location. The fog had cleared, it was early morning, and I was in what appeared to be someone else's abandoned campsite. There was a small dome tent, different brand and color from mine, set up about 10 feet away. A cold fire pit with ashes that looked several days old. Camp gear scattered around that definitely wasn't mine. Ranger Collins. What did you do then? Dalton O'Brien. I was completely disoriented. I had no memory of how I had gotten there or how much time had passed. My watch had stopped working, showing the same time it had when the fog first rolled in. I started hiking in what I hoped was the direction of the main trail system. After maybe 2 hours, I heard voices and found a family of campers who were just starting their morning hike. They called you guys on their satellite communicator. Ranger Collins. When we brought you back to your original campsite, what did you find? Dalton O'Brien. Everything was exactly as I had left it. My tent was still set up, my gear was organized the same way, even my camp chair was facing the same direction. It was like I had never left. But Ranger, according to your report, I was missing for 18 hours. I have no memory of most of that time, and I have no explanation for how I ended up 5 miles away from where I started. Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, we conducted a thorough search of the area where you went missing. We had ground teams, helicopter surveillance, and search dogs. At no point during those 18 hours did we find any trace of your presence in that area. Dalton O'Brien. What do you mean? Ranger Collins. I mean our search dogs, who are trained to track human scent, found no trail leading away from your campsite. Our helicopter crew, using thermal imaging, detected no heat signature matching a human in the search area. It was as if you had simply vanished from the location entirely. Dalton O'Brien. That's impossible. Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, I've been doing search and rescue in this park for 12 years. I've seen people get lost, injured, disoriented, but I've never seen someone disappear so completely from our detection methods and then reappear miles away with no memory of how they got there. Dalton O'Brien. Are you saying you think I'm lying about what happened? Ranger Collins. I'm saying your experience matches a pattern we've seen before in this particular area of the park. Over the past 5 years, we've had 7 similar incidents. Solo hikers who disappear for periods ranging from several hours to several days. only to be found in distant locations with no memory of how they got there. Dalton O'Brien. 7 other people have had this same experience. Ranger Collins. Similar experiences: loss of time, electronic equipment malfunctions, complete absence from our search detection methods during the missing period, and reappearance in locations that would be impossible to reach on foot in the time frame involved. Dalton O'Brien. What's the Park Service's official explanation for these incidents? Ranger Collins. Officially, we classify them as cases of severe disorientation combined with possible medical episodes causing temporary memory loss. The theory is that panic and dehydration can cause people to travel much farther than they realize while in an altered mental state. Dalton O'Brien. But you don't believe that explanation. Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, I've worked in wilderness rescue long enough to know when something doesn't add up. People in medical distress don't evade trained search dogs and thermal imaging equipment. They don't travel 5 miles through unmarked forest without leaving any trace of their passage. And they certainly don't end up at abandoned campsites that our records show haven't been used in over 3 years. Dalton O'Brien. What do you think is really happening out there? Ranger Collins. I think there are aspects of this wilderness that we don't fully understand. Remote areas where our normal rules of navigation and time might not apply the way we expect them to. Local Native American tribes have stories about certain locations in these mountains where people can become unstuck from the normal flow of time and space. They consider some areas to be places where the boundary between our world and other realms becomes thin. Dalton O'Brien. Are you saying you believe in supernatural explanations? Ranger Collins. I'm saying I believe in documented patterns that our conventional explanations can't account for. Whether you call that supernatural or just scientific phenomena we don't understand yet is up to you. Dalton O'Brien. What should I tell people about what happened to me? Ranger Collins. Tell them to be extremely careful when hiking alone in remote areas of the park. Carry multiple navigation devices, check in regularly with people who know your itinerary, and trust your instincts if something feels wrong. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where your electronic equipment starts malfunctioning and you lose your sense of direction, don't panic. Find a safe place to wait it out rather than trying to navigate through conditions you don't understand. Dalton O'Brien. Ranger Collins, I need to know. Am I safe now? Is this something that could happen to me again? Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, of the 7 previous cases similar to yours, 5 of those individuals have returned to the park for additional camping trips without incident. But 2 of them have reported recurring episodes of lost time and disorientation even in familiar areas. My advice would be to stick to well-traveled trails and avoid solo camping in remote locations, at least for the immediate future. Dalton O'Brien. I used to love the solitude of wilderness camping. Now the thought of being alone in the forest terrifies me. Ranger Collins. That's a normal response to what you've experienced. I'd recommend speaking with a counselor who has experience with wilderness trauma. What you went through was real, even if we can't fully explain it. Dalton O'Brien. Will this be investigated further? Ranger Collins. We'll add your case to our ongoing file on anomalous incidents in this area, but honestly, Mr. O'Brien, without physical evidence or witnesses, there's not much we can do beyond documenting the pattern. Dalton O'Brien. So other people might go through what I went through. Ranger Collins. It's possible. That's why we're having this conversation on the record. If someone else reports similar experiences, we want to have as much detail as possible about what these incidents involve. Dalton O'Brien. I just want people to know that if they experience something like this, they're not crazy. Something really did happen to me out there, even if I can't explain what it was. Ranger Collins. Mr. O'Brien, that's exactly why we document these cases, so people know they're not alone in having experiences that don't fit our normal understanding of how the wilderness works. End of interview. Note: subject appeared physically healthy but psychologically distressed. Medical evaluation showed no signs of dehydration, malnutrition, or injury consistent with 18 hours of wilderness survival. GPS device recovered from subject's equipment showed no recorded data for the missing time period, despite device showing normal function before and after the incident. Case file remains open pending further similar incidents. Digital Evidence Recovery Report, Arizona Department of Public Safety. Case file AZ 2024 MP 1847. Missing person Zara Al-Hassan. Evidence Canon EOS R5 camera with memory card. Detective Rivera. This is Detective Maria Rivera conducting evidence review for missing person case AZ 2024 M P1847. We are examining digital photographs recovered from the camera belonging to Ms. Zara Al-Hassan, who disappeared during a solo camping trip in the Superstition Mountains. The camera was found at her abandoned campsite on September 8, 2024. Ms. Al-Hassan was a professional landscape photographer from Phoenix who frequently camped alone in remote locations for her work. She was reported missing when she failed to return from a planned 5-day photography expedition. The following is a chronological description of the photographs found on her camera's memory card, which appear to document a terrifying escalation of events leading to her disappearance. Photograph 001, September 4th, 2024, 6:47 a.m. Standard landscape shot of sunrise over the Superstition Mountains. Miss Al-Hassan's campsite visible in foreground, tent properly set up, gear organized, no anomalies detected. Photograph 002-015, September 4th, various times. Normal progression of landscape and nature photography, saguaro cacti, rock formations, desert wildlife, professional quality images consistent with Miss Al-Hassan's portfolio work. Photograph 016, September 4th, 2024, 7:23 p.m. Campfire shot taken at dusk, Miss Al-Hassan's shadow visible in foreground. In the background, approximately 200 yards away, a dark figure can be seen standing among the cacti. Figure appears humanoid, but details are unclear due to distance and lighting conditions. Photograph 017, September 4th, 2024, 7:24 p.m. Same composition as previous shot, taken 1 minute later. The figure in the background has moved approximately 30 yards closer to the campsite, still too distant to make out clear details. Photograph 018-025, September 5th morning. Continued landscape photography. Quality and composition remain professional. No visible anomalies in these daytime shots. Photograph 026, September 5th, 2024, 8:15 p.m. Evening campsite photo. A figure is now clearly visible approximately 100 yards from Ms. Al-Hassan's tent, standing motionless behind a large saguaro cactus. The figure appears to be wearing dark clothing and is significantly taller than normal human proportions would suggest. Photograph 027, September 5th, 2024, 8:16 p.m. Taken immediately after previous shot. The figure has moved to a position roughly 75 yards from the campsite, still partially obscured by desert vegetation, but the unusual height and thin build are more apparent. Photograph 028, September 5th, 2024, 8:17, Silk. The figure is now approximately 50 yards away and appears to be moving directly toward the campsite. Miss Al-Hassan seems to have zoomed in for this shot. The figure's face is still not, clearly visible, but the body proportions are distinctly non-human. Arms appear to be unusually long relative to the torso. Photograph 029, September 6th, 2024, 6:34 a.m. Morning shot of campsite. Miss Al-Hassan's gear appears disturbed. Items that were organized in previous photos are now scattered around the tent. A circle of stones has been arranged around the fire pit that was not present in earlier photographs. Photograph 030, September 6th, 2024, 6:35 a.m. Close-up of the stone circle. 12 rocks arranged in perfect geometric precision. Each stone appears to have been carved with symbols that do not match any known writing system. The symbols appear fresh, recently carved. Photograph 031, September 6th, 2024, 6:41 a.m. Footprints in sand near campsite. The prints are elongated, approximately 18 inches long, with what appear to be 4 toe impressions instead of 5. The depth and spacing suggest something much heavier than a typical human. Photograph 032-038, September 6th, daytime. Ms. Al-Hassan appears to have continued her photography work, but the images show signs of stress. Several photos are slightly blurred, suggesting unsteady hands. Compositions are less carefully framed than in earlier shots. Photograph 039, September 6th, 2024, 7:43 p.m. Taken from inside Ms. Al-Hassan's tent, looking out through the mesh window. The figure is now standing approximately 20 yards from the tent. For the first time, facial features are partially visible. The face appears elongated with large dark eyes that reflect the camera flash unnaturally. Photograph 040, September 6th, 2024, 7:44 p.m. Same vantage point from tent. The figure has moved closer, now roughly 15 yards away. The full body is visible, confirming the unusual proportions. The being appears to be over 7 feet tall, with limbs that are disproportionately long and thin. Photograph 041, September 6th, 2024, 7:45 p.m. The figure is now less than 10 yards from the tent. The eyes are clearly visible and appear to be looking directly at the camera. There is an intelligence in the gaze that is unmistakably aware of being photographed. Photograph 042, September 6th, 2024, 11:23 p.m. Taken from inside the tent with flash. The figure's hand is pressed against the outside of the tent wall, creating a distinct silhouette. The hand has 4 elongated fingers and appears to be nearly twice the size of a human hand. Photograph 043, September 6th, 2024, 11:24 p.m. The tent zipper is partially open. The figure's face is visible through the opening less than 3 feet from the camera. The features are clearly non-human. Large black eyes, no visible nose, a small mouth, and pale gray skin with an unusual texture. Photograph 044, September 7th, 2024, 2:17 a.m. Taken inside the tent, Miss Al-Hassan appears to have been photographing herself sleeping. The image shows her lying in her sleeping bag, apparently unconscious. Standing over her is the same figure, one of its elongated hands extended toward her face. Photograph 045, September 7th, 2024, 2:18 a.m. Similar composition. The figure's hand is now making contact with Miss Al-Hassan's forehead. A strange luminescent glow appears to be emanating from the point of contact. Photograph 046-051. September 7th, 2024, 2:19 to 2:24 a.m. series of images showing the figure apparently conducting some kind of examination or procedure. Miss Al-Hassan remains motionless throughout. The luminescent effect grows stronger in each successive image. Photograph 052, September 7th, 2024, 6 a.m. Ms. Al-Hassan's campsite from outside the tent. The tent is now collapsed and her gear is scattered in a wider radius than before. The stone circle has been expanded and now includes additional symbols carved into the ground itself. Photograph 053, September 7th, 2024, 6:01 a.m. Close-up of Ms. Al-Hassan's hands holding the camera. Visible on her forearms are small puncture wounds arranged in geometric patterns. The wounds appear fresh and are still bleeding slightly. Photograph 054-062, September 7th, various times. Ms. Al-Hassan appears to have continued photographing despite her apparent distress. The images are increasingly erratic in composition and focus. Several show her own shadow, suggesting rapid, uncontrolled movements. Photograph 063, September 7th, 2024, 8:47 p.m. The figure is now standing directly next to Ms. Al-Hassan's campsite during daylight hours, no longer hiding or maintaining distance. It appears to be examining her equipment with clear interest and intelligence. Photograph 064, September 7th, 2024, 8:48 p.m. The figure is holding one of Ms. Al-Hassan's lenses, studying it carefully. The being's hands are visible in detail, confirming the four-fingered structure and unusual length. Photograph 065, September 7th, 2024, 8:49 p.m. Multiple figures are now present. Three beings of similar appearance stand around the campsite. They appear to be communicating with each other through gestures, though no mouths are visible in any of the faces. Photograph 066, September 8th, 2024, 12:47 a.m. Taken from ground level, suggesting Ms. Al-Hassan may have been lying down. The image shows the legs and lower torsos of all three figures standing around her. The angle suggests she was surrounded. Photograph 067, September 8th, 2024, 12:48 a.m. Final clear image shows one of the figures reaching down toward the camera. The being's eyes are looking directly into the lens with what can only be described as curiosity rather than hostility. Photograph 068-073, September 8th, 2024, 12:49-12:54 a.m. Final series of images are severely overexposed and blurred. Bright lights dominate the frames, making it impossible to distinguish shapes or figures. The images suggest some kind of intense illumination source was present. Photograph 074, September 8th, 2024, 12:55 a.m. Final image on memory card, completely black, suggesting either camera failure or lens cap replacement. Metadata confirms this was the last photograph taken. Detective Rivera. Analysis of the camera's metadata confirms all timestamps and GPS coordinates are consistent with Ms. Al-Hassan's planned itinerary. The images appear to be authentic with no signs of digital manipulation. Forensic examination of the campsite confirmed the presence of the carved stone circle and ground symbols photographed. The puncture wounds visible on Miss Al-Hassan's arms in photograph 053 match blood evidence found on her sleeping bag. The unusual footprint casts taken from the scene match the impressions visible in photograph 031. The prints do not correspond to any known human or animal species native to the Arizona desert. Miss Al-Hassan remains missing, despite extensive search efforts involving ground teams, helicopters, and search dogs. No trace of her has been found beyond the abandoned campsite and camera. The images recovered from her camera represent the most detailed photographic documentation of unexplained phenomena ever recovered from a missing person case in Arizona Department of Public Safety history. Detective Rivera. What makes this case particularly disturbing is the apparent progression shown in the photographs. The initial images suggest Miss Al-Hassan was aware of being observed but continued her normal activities. As the situation escalated, she appears to have deliberately documented what was happening to her. The fact that she continued photographing even during what appear to be invasive procedures suggests either remarkable presence of mind or possible involuntary compulsion. The final series of overexposed images may represent some form of transport or abduction, though we cannot determine from photographic evidence alone what actually occurred. Forensic Analyst Chen. Detective Rivera, I need to add something to the official record. During our analysis of the camera equipment, we discovered that the memory card contained 847 gigabytes of data, despite being a 64 gigabyte capacity card. The additional data consists of thousands of images that appear to show locations not on Earth. Landscapes with unusual geological formations, structures that appear artificial but not of human construction, and skies with multiple moons or unfamiliar star patterns. These additional images are embedded in the camera's firmware in a way that should be technically impossible with consumer camera equipment. Detective Rivera, are you suggesting the camera was modified by whoever or whatever Ms. Al-Hassan encountered? Forensic Analyst Chen. I'm saying that the camera now contains information that it was not designed to store, arranged in a data structure that does not match any known file system. The images appear to be documentation of wherever Miss Al-Hassan was taken after the final overexposed photographs. Detective Rivera, have you been able to enhance or analyze these additional images? Forensic Analyst Chen. Several of them show Ms. Al-Hassan herself in what appears to be some kind of facility or structure. She appears conscious and mobile in these images, suggesting she survived the initial encounter. However, the timestamp data on these images shows dates extending several months beyond her disappearance. Detective Rivera. That's not possible. The camera was recovered just 3 days after she went missing. Forensic Analyst Chen. Detective, I can only report what the data shows. According to the embedded timestamps, some of these images were taken as recently as 2 weeks ago, nearly a year after Ms. Al-Hassan's disappearance. Either someone has been using her camera to document her ongoing situation, or time functions differently wherever these images were captured. Detective Rivera. This case remains open and active. The photographic evidence suggests Ms. Al-Hassan encountered something beyond our current understanding of natural phenomena. Anyone planning to camp in remote areas of the Arizona desert, particularly solo travelers, should be aware that Ms. Al-Hassan's case represents the third unexplained disappearance in this region over the past 2 years. All 3 cases involved experienced outdoor enthusiasts who left behind evidence of unusual encounters before vanishing completely. If you're planning desert camping trips, travel in groups, maintain regular contact with people who know your location, and trust your instincts if you feel you're being observed or followed. Miss Al-Hassan's photographic documentation may represent the most important evidence we have of what happens to people who disappear in these remote areas. Her courage in continuing to document her experience, even under terrifying circumstances, may help prevent others from sharing her fate. The investigation continues. Anyone with information about Miss Al-Hassan's whereabouts or similar encounters should contact the Arizona Department of Public Safety immediately. Case status: active missing person investigation. Evidence: secured in AZDPS evidence facility. Additional photographs and technical analysis available to qualified researchers upon request. Note: the additional non-terrestrial images mentioned in this report have been classified pending review by federal agencies. Access is restricted to personnel with appropriate clearance levels. Therapy session transcript. Dr. Sarah Matthews, LCSW. Patient, River McAllister. Session date, October 12th, 2024. Session number 8. Dr. Matthews. River, I know it has been difficult for you to talk about what happened during your family camping trip. You have made significant progress over the past few weeks, and I think you are ready to share the complete account. Remember, this is a safe space, and we can stop at any time if you become too distressed. River McAllister. Thank you, Dr. Matthews. I need to get this out. My family thinks I am overreacting, but they were not there when I realized what David was really planning for us. Dr. Matthews, take your time. Start wherever feels comfortable. River McAllister. We went to the Cascade Mountains in Oregon for what was supposed to be a 4-day family camping trip. My spouse Alex, our 2 kids Emma and Jake, ages 12 and 10. We had been planning this trip for months as a way to reconnect after a really stressful year. We arrived at the Olali Lake area on a Friday afternoon in late August. Beautiful location, crystal clear water surrounded by dense forest. The campground was nearly empty, which we thought was perfect for some family bonding time. Dr. Matthews. When did you first encounter David? River McAllister. Almost immediately after we arrived. We were still unloading the car when this man approached our campsite. Middle-aged, maybe late 40s, rugged-looking but friendly. He introduced himself as David and said he had been camping there for about a week. At first, I was grateful for the help. David offered to show us the best spots to set up our tents, where to find the cleanest water, which trails were safest for the kids. He seemed genuinely knowledgeable about the area and very eager to help. Dr. Matthews. What was your initial impression of David? River McAllister. Honestly, he seemed like a godsend. Solo camping with 2 kids can be challenging, and Alex had never been comfortable with outdoor activities. David offered to help us set up our campsite properly, showed us how to hang our food to keep it away from bears, even gave us some extra firewood he had collected. The kids liked him immediately. He told them stories about the local wildlife, taught Jake how to skip stones across the lake, showed Emma how to identify different types of trees. He was patient, knowledgeable, and seemed to genuinely enjoy spending time with our family. Dr. Matthews. When did you start to feel uncomfortable about David's presence? River McAllister. It was subtle at first. On Saturday morning, David appeared at our campsite around 7 with coffee already made and breakfast prepared. He said he always made too much food and offered to share. Again, it seemed thoughtful and generous. But then I noticed he knew things about our family that we had never told him. He mentioned that Emma was nervous about starting middle school, which was true, but we had never discussed that with him. He asked Jake if he was still having trouble with his math homework, which was accurate but not something we had shared. Dr. Matthews, how did David respond when you questioned him about this knowledge? River McAllister. He laughed it off, said he was good at reading people and making educated guesses based on the kids' ages and behavior. It seemed plausible enough, and Alex thought I was being paranoid about a helpful stranger. Saturday afternoon, David offered to take the kids on a nature hike while Alex and I relaxed at the campsite. The kids were excited to go, and it gave us some much-needed alone time. David said he knew a trail that led to a beautiful waterfall about 2 miles away. Dr. Matthews, did anything concerning happen during that hike? River McAllister. When they returned 3 hours later, the kids were unusually quiet. When I asked them about the waterfall, they looked confused. Emma said they had never seen any waterfall, that David had taken them to an old cabin in the woods where he showed them his collection. I asked what kind of collection, and Jake said it was camping gear, lots of tents and backpacks and clothes that David said belonged to other families who had visited the area. The kids thought it was cool that David kept souvenirs from all his camping friends. Dr. Matthews, how did you respond to this information? River McAllister. I was immediately alarmed, but I tried not to show it in front of the kids. I asked them to describe the cabin, and their descriptions were very detailed. Emma said there were photographs on the walls of different families camping, including some that looked very old. Jake mentioned that David had asked them lots of questions about our family, our routines at home, where we lived, where the kids went to school. He had written down their answers in a notebook. That evening I told Alex about my concerns, but Alex thought I was overreacting. David had been nothing but helpful and kind, and the kids clearly enjoyed his company. Alex suggested that maybe David was just a lonely person who enjoyed meeting camping families. Dr. Matthews, what happened on Sunday that changed the situation? River McAllister. Sunday morning, David appeared at our campsite before we were even awake. He was carrying a large duffel bag and seemed more agitated than usual. He said there was a storm coming and that we needed to move to a more sheltered location immediately. I checked the weather on my phone, and there was no storm predicted. But David insisted that weather reports were unreliable in the mountains, and that he knew the area well enough to predict dangerous conditions. Dr. Matthews, how did your family respond to David's urgency? River McAllister. Alex was willing to trust David's local knowledge and started packing our gear. The kids were excited about the adventure of moving to a new campsite. I was the only one who felt something was wrong. David led us deeper into the forest, away from the established campground and hiking trails. He said his special campsite was completely protected from wind and rain, with a natural shelter and fresh water source. After hiking for about an hour, we reached a clearing that was surrounded on 3 sides by steep rock walls. There was only one narrow path leading in or out, and David positioned himself near that exit while we set up our tents. Dr. Matthews, at what point did you realize you were in danger? River McAllister. When I noticed that David's duffel bag contained items that clearly belonged to other people. I saw children's clothing in different sizes, adult hiking boots, personal items like jewelry and watches. When I asked David about these items, he said they were things other camping families had left behind. But Dr. Matthews, some of these items looked like they had been carefully preserved, not abandoned. There was a child's stuffed animal that was clean and well maintained, a wedding ring that was polished and obviously cared for, family photographs that had been laminated to protect them from weather. Dr. Matthews, what did you do with this realization? River McAllister. I quietly told Alex that we needed to leave immediately, that David was not who he appeared to be. But Alex thought I was having some kind of anxiety attack and refused to pack up and hike back in the growing darkness. David seemed to sense my suspicion and became more controlling. He suggested that we should all stay close together for safety, that the kids should not wander off, that we should keep our voices down to avoid attracting dangerous wildlife. Dr. Matthews, how did you manage to escape the situation? River McAllister. Around midnight, I heard David moving around outside our tent. I looked through the mesh window and saw him examining our car keys, which he had somehow taken from Alex's backpack. He was also looking through our identification cards and credit cards. I realized that David was not planning to let us leave in the morning. Whatever had happened to the other families whose belongings he possessed, he was planning the same thing for us. I woke Alex and the kids as quietly as possible and told them we were leaving immediately, no questions asked. For once, Alex did not argue with me, maybe because they could hear the absolute terror in my voice. Dr. Matthews, how did you get past David to escape? River McAllister, I created a distraction by intentionally knocking over our camp stove, which made a loud crash. When David came to investigate the noise, we slipped out the back of our tent and started climbing the rock wall behind our campsite. It was terrifying climbing in the dark with two kids, but we managed to reach the top of the cliff and find another trail that led back toward the main campground. We hiked through the forest for 3 hours until we reached our car. Dr. Matthews, did David pursue you? River McAllister, we could hear him calling our names for the first hour of our escape. He was using different voices, sometimes sounding concerned and helpful, other times angry and demanding. At one point, he was calling for the kids specifically, saying he had found something they would want to see. The most disturbing part was that his voice seemed to be coming from different directions, like he was somehow able to move through the forest much faster than should have been possible. Dr. Matthews, what happened when you reached safety? River McAllister, we drove directly to the nearest ranger station and reported the incident. The rangers took our statement and promised to investigate, but when they returned to the location we described, they found no trace of David or the cabin the kids had visited. Our abandoned camping gear was gone, and there were no footprints or other evidence that anyone had been in the area recently. It was like David had simply vanished, taking all evidence of his presence with him. Dr. Matthews, how has this experience affected your family? River McAllister, the kids have nightmares about David finding us at home. Alex has become much more cautious about trusting strangers, which I guess is a positive change. But I am consumed with guilt about putting my family in danger, and terrified that David might still be out there targeting other families. I researched missing persons cases in Oregon and found several families who disappeared while camping in remote areas over the past 5 years. The descriptions of their last known locations match the type of isolated spots David seemed to prefer. Dr. Matthews, River, what you experienced was a genuine threat to your family's safety. Your intuition and quick thinking likely saved your lives. The fact that the authorities could not find evidence of David's presence does not mean your experience was not real. River McAllister, Dr. Matthews, I need people to know that not everyone who offers help in the wilderness has good intentions. David was skilled at appearing helpful and trustworthy while gradually isolating his targets from safety and escape routes. If anyone encounters an overly helpful stranger while camping, especially someone who seems to know too much about your family or who wants to move you to a more isolated location. Trust your instincts and get to safety immediately. Dr. Matthews. River, your willingness to share your story could help protect other families from similar situations. Predators often target families in remote areas because they know help is far away and victims are vulnerable. River McAllister. I just hope that somewhere out there other families are safe and that David never gets the chance to complete whatever he was planning for us. The wilderness can be a beautiful place for family bonding, but it can also hide people who use its isolation for terrible purposes. Always trust your instincts and never let politeness prevent you from protecting your family. Session notes. Patient shows significant improvement in processing trauma. Recommend continued therapy to address lingering anxiety and guilt. Case details forwarded to appropriate authorities for ongoing investigation. Patient has granted permission for anonymous use of session content for educational purposes regarding wilderness safety and predator awareness.